evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Azam Khan. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. John Lee urged to roll out family-friendly initiatives in his upcoming policy address. Population expert says the government is too optimistic in its birth rate projections. And Lionel Messi is once again sensational as he guides Inter Miami to their first ever title. With the second policy address just around the corner, Chief Executive John Lee is now inviting views from the public. He has been told to formulate family-friendly policies in the first session this morning. Janice Lowe reports.
With just 2 months to go before his next policy address is due, it was time for John Lee to kick off the customary public consultation. The chief executive met 120 residents who attended a town hall-style forum at a Shao K1 primary school. In a show of unity, 21 of his cabinet officials also turned up to solicit views. They included Chief Secretary Eric Chan and Financial Secretary Paul Chan. Lee began by expressing gratitude to the recognition his maiden address earned over the past year. Apart from following up on the policies already rolled out, the SAR leader said he wanted to hear everyone's priorities. Traditionally, consultations present the chance for the audience to demand welfare benefits and subsidies. It was a little different this time, as many participants were especially concerned about the aging population and plummeting birth rate. This woman pointed out the acute shortage for child and elderly daycare services. She argued the lack of childcare support is hindering mothers from re-entering the labor force and deters them from having another child. This man was hoping authorities could introduce more tax breaks for parents. It costs a lot for young couples to start a family, he added, and more financial incentives are needed. The audience was then divided into smaller groups for in-depth discussions. This mother revealed that she had to undergo artificial insemination to become pregnant, and that many of her peers also faced fertility issues. She urged the government to entice young females to freeze their eggs by providing tax deductions. The chief executive promised to consider her proposal as well as formulate family-friendly policies. Lee will conduct another district visit in Sha Tin next Sunday, while members of the public can submit their views through various means, such as email or social media. Janice Lowe, HKIBC.
A concern group says that elderly citizens are increasingly alienated amid the age of technology. Meanwhile, a population expert is challenging the government's projection that the birth rate will gradually improve. Here's Janice Lowe again.
In latest statistics released by the government, Hong Kong's birth rate will gradually improve over the coming years. While the average number of children per household currently stands at 0.7, it is projected to reach 0.9 by 2026. But population expert Paul Yip was quick to pour cold water on what he felt was an overly optimistic estimate. Speaking on a radio program this morning, the chair professor of population health at Hong Kong University explained that under the government's projection, the city needs to welcome at least 10,000 extra babies every year for the coming 3 years. The honorary advisor at the Family Planning Association said his research suggested that the fertility rate will instead drop to 0.6 in the coming 5 to 6 years. Yip also pointed out that the aging population is a serious problem, saying the mortality rate would go up with or without a pandemic. As of last year, nearly 1 in 5 Hong Kongers are aged 65 or above. By 2028, a quarter of residents would be considered elderly. The Society for Community Organization, commonly known as SOCO, interviewed roughly 160 underprivileged senior citizens between July last year and January. Most respondents admitted feeling lonely. 9 out of 10 said they did not have regular contact with family members because of difficulties using a smartphone. SOCO urged the government to assign helpers at community centers to teach the elderly to use electronic gadgets. Janice Low, HKIBC.
Financial Secretary Paul Chan says the government is pulling out all the stops to ensure a speedy recovery of the aviation industry. But the airport is not just looking at the past either. Raymond Young has the story.
Even with a 16% drop in volume, Hong Kong retained its crown as the world's busiest air cargo hub for the second consecutive year in 2022. And according to Financial Secretary Paul Chan, passenger traffic is ready to take up again after COVID restrictions were lifted. In his weekly article, Chan said there are now around 110 carriers operating flights to 165 worldwide destinations, around 75% of pre-COVID levels. Daily passengers are 65% of what they used to be, and the airport authority estimates they will reach 80% by the end of the year and achieve full recovery in 2024. To further speed up recovery, the aviation industry has been given the green light to import 2,800 workers as soon as October. In the long run, Chan insisted Chaklapkop must develop into an airport city, featuring offices, hotels, shopping malls, and entertainment facilities. Construction is underway for Sky City, a 25-hectare development on the airport island, while the Asia World Expo is building a 20,000-seat indoor concert hall. The airport itself is also going through a major upgrade. When the third runway system completes construction next year, Hong Kong will be able to handle 120 million passengers annually, 50% more than the current capacity. The brand new Sky Pier will begin operation soon, providing ferry services for passengers heading to Greater Bay Area cities such as Macau, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen. Chan also outlined the importance of the air cargo business, saying it constituted nearly half of the city's trade by value last year, but just 2% volume-wise. Authorities are now helping freight companies upgrade their facilities in Hong Kong, including DHL's Central Asia Hub, which came into operation in March. The complex relies on automation technology to process over 1 million metric tons of cargo each year. Raymond Yang, HKIBC.
Turning overseas, Niger's coup leader has proposed a 3-year transition of power and warned any foreign intervention will be met with force from his army. It comes after a delegation of the West African bloc met with the junta generals in the capital, Niamey.
Addressing the nation on television, General Abdourahmane Chiani said neither his junta nor Nigerians wish for war. But the leader of the mutinous soldiers who seized power vowed to stand ready to fight. Chiani said the junta would return the country to civilian rule within 3 years, but did not provide details. The announcement comes a week after Regional Bloc, the Economic Community of West African States, or ECOWAS, ordered the deployment of a standby army. Led by Nigeria and comprising soldiers from 11 of its 15 member nations, the troops are ready to intervene shall things get out of control. ECOWAS has also imposed heavy sanctions on Niger since the coup late last month. The West African bloc has taken a tougher stance on Niger's regime change, the region's 7th in 3 years, than similar occurrences in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea, all former French colonies which support Niger's junta. Chiani's speech came in the midst of a visit by an ECOWAS delegation to Niger's capital, Niamey. The convoy is headed by former Nigerian Army General Abdul Salami Abubakar. They met with Niger's junta leader for the first time yesterday, as well as the toppled president, Mohamed Bazoum, on a separate occasion. Bazoum remains under house arrest in the capital. Representatives from the United Nations were present at both meetings. The junta appears to have plenty of support from the people. Thousands signed up as volunteer fighters in Niamey to defend their country from foreign intervention. But for now, all parties are still inclined to resolve the situation through diplomacy.
Pakistan's opposition leader and former foreign minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi has been arrested. Qureshi was taken away from his home today. The close aide of former Prime Minister Imran Khan is accused of exposing a letter last year that claimed Khan was ousted from power by the United States. Hours before his arrest, the two-time foreign minister announced that he would challenge in the courts any delays to national elections due to be held later this year. It is the latest development in a standoff between the administration of outgoing Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and his predecessor Khan, who was jailed earlier this month on graft charges. Khan has all along denied wrongdoings. On to the weather now. The sun will be out periodically with a few showers. Temperatures will range between 28 and 32 degrees. Similar conditions in the following days. That's our main news for Sunday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Azam Khan. Thanks for watching. Good night.